So today we're talking about a series of Nintendo Switch games that, to be honest, were thought to be lost to time and would never come to the Western market. Yes, it's Famicom Detective Club. And you'll probably know that the series has a new game ready to come out very shortly. It is Emio The Smiling Man. We had that trailer from Nintendo that dropped, a 15-second teaser trailer. It was very un-Nintendo-like, but it was really interesting to see them try and market a game in a different way, and it turned out that this was going to be the next game in the Famicom Detective Club series. So we're going to be looking at a few things. Firstly, are these games worth playing? What are the games like? And do you have to play the original two games to play Emio? And finally, I'm going to be taking a look at the Japanese Special Edition Deluxe package of Famicom Detective Club 1 and 2. So the first entry in this series, Famicom Detective Club The Missing Heir, came out in 1988, and it was followed up by The Girl Who Stands Behind. And these games are visual novel games, detective style games, so if you're into murder mysteries or crime solving stories, or you like certain video games such as Phoenix Wright series or something like that where you're delving into crime, those criminal topics, this is one that could be one that you would like to play. So as I said at the start, both of these games only ever released in Japan up until we got the Nintendo Switch, and these games were remastered for Nintendo Switch. And the excellent thing about the Switch being so successful and doing so well is that Nintendo have had to keep pumping out content across the years, and it means they're having to delve into more niche and stranger projects from their past, and this is one that I would never have expected to come back. So in 2021, the remasters for both of these games came out. They are available as a double pack, and I think you can buy them singularly as well. And the disappointing thing for physical collectors is that these two games only appeared in a physical collection in Japan. As I said, I will show you the full contents of this physical collection, but it's a real shame not to get these physically in the West, especially now that Emio is coming out as part of a physical collection. And here is the real kicker: this Japanese exclusive only has Japanese on the cart. Even though English is available digitally, it's not on this cartridge set for the first two games. So if you want to enjoy this series and you're a digital collector, there's absolutely no problems. But if you only buy games physical, or you really prefer to have games physical, unfortunately, you're going to be out of luck with this one. So the first game opens up with our main protagonist in a kind of very stereotypical story type way, makes up, and he's lost his memory. He has fallen to the ground near the edge of a cliff, and then it's about discovering the story of what happened, unveiling memories as you go along, and solving a set of murder mysteries along the way. Girl Who Stands Behind. It's the sequel game, but it's actually a prequel, so it's the second game in the series, but this takes place 3 years before the events of The Missing Heir. And these games have been made in such a way where you can play either of them first. It will actually ask you when you open either game to input your save from the previous game, because they can be played either way around. For my taste, I am one of those people that loves to do things in release order from when they came out, so I played them in the release the way they were, first game first, and the prequel then second. So are the games worth playing? I think personally these are really well done. I honestly am not a massive visual novel kind of fan or person, but I love crime and detective stories across all different types of media, so movies and books. I love anything to do with crime stories or investigations for police. It's all really cool. So this game really scratched that specific itch for me. There's a bit more of adult type of content with Nintendo. We're used to having Pikachu, we're used to having Kirby, Mario, everything's bright and colourful. This game definitely gives a different edge and a different dynamic to Nintendo's output, and I think we're seeing that from the third game in the series, this Emio Smiling Man. Even the marketing behind it shows that it's going to be darker, creepier, and have that kind of bit of an adult edge to it that we don't normally find from Nintendo. So for me personally, I find this really refreshing, a different kind of pace and a different style of game that we're not used to in terms of its content anyway from Nintendo. And like I said, I'm not a massive aficionado with visual novels either, so perhaps if you're really into visual novels, this one won't impact you in quite the same way. Maybe you've played some that are of a higher quality, but to me, this was a really, really good experience. And so if you're starting out just getting into visual novels, or want to get into this series, I definitely think you couldn't go wrong with the double pack of Game 1 and 2. You're getting a lot of gameplay for your money. This one rarely ever goes on sale, so you will probably have to pick it up at full price, but maybe they'll do some kind of deal in around the third game coming out. And I would say each of these titles is going to last you between 8 to 10, maybe 12 hours, somewhere in around that ballpark. I can't remember exactly how long it was for me for each of these, but it was somewhere in around there. So not particularly the longest game in the world, but the fact that you're basically getting 2 games for the price of 1 here, you've got plenty of content, up to about 20 hours of really fun storytelling. So are you going to have to have played both of these games before we play Emio? And to be honest, I'm not quite sure on that yet. It's not been made apparent if you're going to have knowledge of these first 2 games to really play Emio. But I would say the fact that they're marketing this more as marketing this new game more as Emio The Smiling Man rather than a Famicom Detective Club game first and foremost means that you probably won't have to have an in-depth knowledge of the first 2 games. So if it looks interesting to you, maybe you would want to pick up just the third title. It's a bit more accessible. Obviously it's going to come out physically as well. But the way I look at it is, for the same cost, you're going to be able to pick up the first 2 games in the series anyway. They all look to be of a kind of similar style and art style. The remake, new kind of art style and look to this one is really, really nice. It looks fantastic. And when you go back and look at the original Famicom Detective Club, you can see how much love and effort and a remaster and reboot they had done to this. It's not just that they've slapped it onto Switch, they've gone back and redone everything for it to really bring it up to the modern time. So it's unclear if we're going to have played the first 2 games to really get a good amount out of Emio. I would err on the side of caution and probably pick up the first 2 games anyway. They all look to be similar in style and gameplay anyway, so it's probably worth, for the same price, picking up the first 2, and if you don't like it, then you're out of the series and it doesn't matter, and if you do like it, you've at least played them in order anyway. And let's take a look at this awesome Japanese collector's edition here. You can see I have the box here for the game. I've taken it out of the main overall cardboard sleeve. So you have that oversized cardboard box. Really nice artwork on this one as well. And who knows, maybe down the line we'll even get this physically with English on the cartridge, but I would very much doubt it. So I just imported it to have a full collection of Nintendo published games that came out on the Nintendo Switch. And now that the series is continuing, I actually like that I have this cool little collectible. So if we open up the box here, you can see first of all, we've got this little package, and this is actually a double set of CDs with the soundtrack for both games. And it's quite unique in that it doesn't come in just a CD jewel case as normal. It comes in this cardboard sleeve case. It looks really nice, the artwork's nice on there, and the soundtrack is one of the best bits of these titles. And I think you probably got that as a reason for having the soundtrack in here. A lot of people were hyped to get the soundtrack for this one on CD so that they could rip it and keep it. You can see there's a nice reversible art cover with the original kind of Japanese artwork on the back side of the top of the box. Then we've got our tray for the actual game itself, which, as I said, I've taken out already. And finally, underneath, if I take this out, I won't open this up and show everything in it because it will contain some kind of spoilers and characters that you may want to just see evolve across the games as you play them. But this is like a case file, detective document book, and really what this is more like a kind of art book that shows off the art from the game, but it's made up as if it's in this kind of detective's notebook investigation. So all in all, what do I think of this series, and am I going to pick up Emio? Well, I think you can tell from this video, I've been pretty positive about this series of games. It's one that is an oddity from Nintendo's past that I didn't think we would be getting. That's what I love about supporting and playing Nintendo games. They have such a rich selection of games from a wide space in time, and a lot of different genres and style of gameplay, and you just never know what they're going to pull out of their hat, and this is one that I'm really glad that they did pull out and brought to the West. I would never have been able to experience this any other way. I don't speak Japanese, unfortunately, so it was great to get a release of a niche title that I'd heard about over the years but had no chance or option of playing. I'm definitely going to be picking up Emio. I would say these games are probably 4 out of 5 on my review scale. They're both good games. I'd say the first one's probably a bit better than the second one. And I've been interested from what they've shown about Emio so far. We've had a few different trailers, the teaser trailer initially, and then a bit more of an in-depth one revealing that it was Famicom Detective Club. And now, of course, we have the demo coming out. I'm not actually going to play the demo, I'm going to wait for the full release and just do it all in one big go. But if you're interested, there is a demo. I think they're going to release the first 3 chapters of the story a few days apart. So by the time this video is up, all 3 of those should be available, and that might give you an idea as to whether you want to buy the full release. Let me know what you thought of Famicom Detective Club if you've played it. Let me know what you thought about the choice to market the 3rd game in the series in the way that they are. And of course, please try and support the channel by hitting the like or subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video. And I'll catch you all in the next one.